Alan ShlomoVeingrad is an Orthodox Jew living in Coral Springs, Florida, a prominent member of his community and a motivational speaker. Every morning, Shlomo arrives early to shul, puts on his tefillin, and studies the Torah. But not too long ago, Shlomo had quite a different morning routine.
Number 73, Alan Veingrad.
Yes, 6'5", 277-pound offensive tackle.
This ultra-Orthodox community leader was once a Super Bowl winning offensive lineman. He has replaced his helmet and shoulder pads with a yarmulke and talis. Hands that once clutched the coveted Vince Lombardi trophy now hold a Torah.
Really, to get me off the streets of Miami, I went out for the football team. I immersed myself with football, weightlifting, throwing the discus and the shot put. I was an average high school football player that had a desire to play football in college, and fortunately I was able to earn a scholarship to East Texas State University.
Then in 1985, Alan tried out for the Houston Oilers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But would he be good enough?
At 270 pounds, 6'5", running a 4.9 in the 40-yard dash, bench pressing over 450 pounds, still not good enough. I didn't have the techniques that were required. So I focused that year on my education and in trying to become a better football player. That particular year, 1986, I signed with the Green Bay Packers. And when I graduated from East Texas State University, I moved to Green Bay, Wisconsin. So from May 1986 to the middle of July 1986, the offensive line coach took about 12 guys out on the football field every single day, and he taught us the mechanics, the techniques that were required to play in the National Football League. Day one, the right starting offensive tackle was holding out for a larger contract, and his backup retired. They had no choice, really, to put me out there.
Thus began Alan's career as a pro football player.
During those 5 years, I immersed myself in trying to become the best football player I can be in terms of learning, in terms of the tools and the techniques that are required. I took up martial arts, I hit a speed bag, I pushed trucks up and down streets. Whatever I was told would make me a better football player, I would do. In 1991, my agent called and said the Dallas Cowboys would like to sign you to a 3-year contract. I wasn't that interested in leaving Green Bay. However, the contract and the numbers worked. Not to mention the team was on the upswing, and my agent did say to me, you know, you're 29 years old, don't you think you should move to a larger city that would give you a better opportunity to find a Jewish girl? And that, coupled with the contract and the team being on the way, which I thought was on the way to playoffs, I left Green Bay and went and signed with the Dallas Cowboys.
In the 2 years that Alan played for the Cowboys, he earned himself a Super Bowl ring. But his leap into Orthodox Judaism didn't come until after he retired from the NFL.
Well, I retired from playing in the NFL. I had my first child. I got married to a girl out of Miami. We had a baby, and I was invited to somebody's house for a Shabbos meal. First time ever at anybody's house for Shabbos. And it was nice, the food was great, and they were singing some songs, and his 4 kids were given words of Torah. I couldn't add anything. I didn't know anything about the Jewish religion, to tell you the truth. I knew the Torah was a history book, a true history book about the Jewish people wandering throughout the desert. It didn't interest me. I wasn't inspired by it. At that particular dinner, the doctor, my cousin, said to me, would you like to go to a Torah class? Out of obligation, I said I'd go to one class. At a point during that 1-hour Torah class, he had some inspirational words that affected me deeply, and I went up to him after the class. I said, how does inspiration tie into what you're telling me? So he explained it to me again, and he said, come back next week and I'll tell you some more. And it was interesting to me because I, as a football player, as an athlete, as a track and field athlete, I was interested in inspiration. As a football player, I studied every autobiography, all the great coaches and players for many, many years. I have a library second to none. I had all the motivational tapes as a high school, college, and professional football player, and I listened to all this inspiration. And now I'm being told by an Orthodox rabbi that the Torah is an inspirational roadmap. It's a battery pack that makes you a better person in every facet of your life. And I said, you gotta be kidding. I didn't know this. No one told me that.
So Alan dove headfirst into his religion. He changed his name to Shlomo and began speaking to captivated audiences about his story, inspiring thousands. His friends consider Shlomo to be an outstanding addition to their community.
Shlomo came to our community several years back with a family, kids, eager to grow and eager to learn and eager to be part of a community, because it's difficult to grow Jewishly if you don't have an infrastructure.
He's a guy with tremendous drive, tremendous energy, and extremely focused. And when you have somebody with that combination who's dedicated to trying to get it right and doing the right thing, you have somebody that everyone can point to and say, gee, he's going in the right direction. I want to go in that same direction.
When you could take your life experiences, transparency, show them as a transparent growth like he has, you know how many people's lives he's changed?
Our society looks up to people who have made it up to that level in sports. There's people in general look for a role model, and he has really fit, and not only fit, but he's actually utilized that background and the journey that he's made from that background, which is, again, a journey that is very much idolized in this country, and he's made the switch into a very meaningful spiritual life.
How many Jews have a Super Bowl ring?
So I got a kid brother who's overseas, big Dallas Cowboy fan. Says to me the other day after seeing the piece on Shlomo on NBC, and he says, oh, so you know Alan Weingrad? I told him, no, I don't know Alan Weingrad. I know ShlomoVeingradFinal. Alan Weingrad retired years ago.
Alan Shlomo Weingrad, once an offensive lineman for the Packers and the Cowboys, now a husband, father, and mensch. From Coral Springs, Florida, I'm Todd Siegel.